About 6 months ago, my boyfriend and I broke up after being in a long-term relationship. After being out of the dating game for so long, I had a hard time meeting new people out in public, so my friend Tracy recommended a couple of dating apps. I decided to give it a go and made an account on a very popular dating app. My profile consisted of me, who for a little context is a 5'4" female, mid-20s, with pictures of both being out fishing and one sitting on the bed of a pickup truck. Within the first day of having the app, I got contacted by about 6 different guys. One of them caught my eye. His name was Danny. He was a pretty handsome guy, tall with cropped black hair and early 30s. We texted back and forth for a couple days and got to know each other on a basic level, when one night he asked me if we could meet in person. I got a little nervous, but agreed to meet him at a coffee shop in the small town over. On the way to the coffee place, Danny texted me back saying he would be a few minutes late. I texted him no problem, I'll just get some coffee and wait for him. About 15 minutes into my latte, a man who looked far different from his profile pic comes and sits down at the table across from me and says he's Danny and apologized for being so late. This guy looked far different from the dude I thought I'd been talking to. He had a crooked smile, medium-length black hair, short, and had a strange smell. I didn't want to be rude and say I got catfished, but was sure thinking it. I decided to try and brush it off and give the guy a chance. After all, he did seem pretty cool over text. We stayed for about an hour talking, but the longer I stayed, I started getting bad vibes. And when I was ready to go, Danny insisted walking me to my car. Then he started to lean forward. I quickly told him I don't do that on the first date, and he blushed, muttered something, and walked away. That night, after I'd gotten home and showered, I had 15 messages from Danny, ranging from saying how attracted he was to me, then joking, saying that I was a prude. As soon as I had left our date, I knew I didn't want to see this guy again. I just thanked him for his time, but told him I wasn't interested, and that's when things went sour. Danny started trying to call multiple times and threatened to come to my house. I told him no, but he was insisted that we were made for each other and that he wanted me to have his children. This totally freaked me out, considering I just met him and he's creepy. I decided to block him, and thankfully haven't heard anything since. I'm a 24-year-old male that is currently going to one of the big universities in Indiana. About 2 weeks ago, I was going through a dry spell and hadn't met any pretty girls, so decided to try out a couple dating apps to boost my game. It was about 2 a.m. and I was scrolling through one of them when I matched with a girl named Miriam. She was absolutely gorgeous, with green eyes and wavy brown hair. It almost seemed unreal when she messaged me saying she thought I was cute. I told her I thought she was attractive also, and we went on from there to talk about where we went to school and that sort of thing. She asked if I was busy tonight, and if not, if I wanted to come to her place to hang out. Excitedly, I agreed, and she sent me her address. I told her I could be there in about 30 minutes. Adrenaline and excitement filled me at how pretty she was and how easily everything fell into place. After I got showered up, put on some fresh jeans, and pulled up the maps, her apartment was on the other side of campus, more in a sketchy area of town. When I arrived, she welcomed me inside and offered me a drink before the movie. I accepted, and when she came back from the small attached kitchen, she had 2 drinks in her hands. Gotta say, I was a little nervous, so drank mine very quickly. It tasted like it had cheap whiskey in it. We sat on her couch and started the movie Rise of Skywalker. I should have known by her choice of film that this would not end well. About 30 minutes in, I started getting extremely tired and felt like I couldn't move. I told her I wasn't feeling too well and should probably head home, but she told me no and said I could fall asleep right there. That's all I remember before losing consciousness. I woke up in a dark room that was empty outside of the dirty mattress I was on. My pants were gone and my hands were tied up. My heart was racing as I tried to make sense of what had just happened and where I was. There was hushed talking nearby, and I knew I had to get out immediately. The window was unlocked, so I slid the window open with my shoulder and feet and jumped out into the bushes. I tried running in my underwear to go get help. The security patrolman in the complex put his sirens on and rushed towards me. He got the ties off my hands and got a quick backstory before going to check out the apartment I had pointed to. By the time we got there, Miriam was gone, and the apartment management said that that particular apartment had been vacant for 2 months. Miriam's profile had been deleted. I felt like an idiot and got my wallet and pants stolen, but I'm thankful to have gotten out with my life. After that, I'm never using dating apps to meet crazy chicks again. My name's Mark. I'm a 30-year-old single who lives in the East Coast. I've never had much game, so a buddy from my soccer team mentioned trying online dating. I always felt weird about it, but decided during one night of desperation to try it out. It didn't take me long to figure out that that was a big mistake. I had started talking to a girl who we will call Brenda. She was about my age and said she lived a couple towns away. We hit it off right away, discussing our careers and aspirations. Since we aren't in high school anymore, I didn't want to take her out to a movie, and since it seemed kinda lame, but also wasn't ready to invite her over for dinner at my house yet, so decided just to ask her where she feels comfortable going. I watched as 3 dots of the iPhone message were populating a response, and a couple minutes later she responded, asking if we could meet at some hiking trails at the state park nearby, more around dusk since she had to change after work. I promptly agreed and did little chores around the house, wasting time before meeting up. Around 7 I got dressed and drove to the entrance of the state park, but didn't see any cars in the small parking lot. I shot Brenda a text and she quickly responded that she walked here from her place and just to meet her in the Falcon Trail on the east side of the park. My red flag started going up, but I dumbly ignored it, being so caught up in really wanting to meet a girl. I went ahead and locked the car door and headed for the trail. My palms started getting sweaty in anticipation and nervousness. I got confused because the deeper I got into the trail, I still couldn't find Brenda, and when trying to text her, her exact location was no longer available due to the signal loss being in the dense woods. After about 10 minutes, darkness was falling fast, and I started thinking better of the situation, so decided to turn around, thinking this must be some kind of a prank. On the way back, I started hearing a girl scream and call my name. I ran deeper into the forest to see if it was actually Brenda and possibly her being hurt, but that's whenever I tripped over a trap wire and realized all too late that it had been a setup. 2 guys and a rough-looking chick came up on me. One of them punched me in the side of the head, and the other one dug my wallet out and took my phone. The girl just smiled at me, and the 3 took off. I couldn't believe what just happened, but was too embarrassed to notify the police at the time. Looking back on it now, I should have. That way they couldn't have the opportunity to lure some other sucker into their trap. Needless to say, I'm not going to try to meet any more women on the internet.